Women rarely admit it, but their deepest desires are not shaped by love, safety, or sweet words. What truly controls their passion lives in the secret fantasies they hide from the world. These fantasies are powerful because they bypass logic and speak directly to instinct. They are not random thoughts. They are hidden scripts that dictate what excites her, who she craves, and why she cannot resist certain men. Once you understand these secret stories, you stop guessing about attraction and start pulling the strings that control her desire. Number 1. The conquest fantasy. The first and perhaps most misunderstood female fantasy is the desire to be conquered. Not in the crude sense of physical force, but in the deeper psychological sense of surrendering to a man whose dominance is undeniable. This fantasy is ancient, primal, and universal. Women may never admit it openly. Some will even deny it fiercely, but their behavior repeatedly reveals it. They test men not because they enjoy drama, but because they crave proof of strength. Every challenge, every argument, every moment of resistance is, at its core, an unconscious invitation. Show me you can handle me. Show me you can rule me. Show me you are stronger than I am. This is not about cruelty. It is about polarity. Masculinity and femininity cannot exist in harmony without tension. And dominance is the axis around which that polarity spins. A woman does not desire a man she can easily control. She desires the man who calmly, decisively resists her attempts at control and reasserts his authority without hesitation. When she feels his certainty, she can finally release her own need to lead. And in that release, she finds the intoxicating pleasure of surrender. Psychologists often try to rationalize this by pointing to evolutionary drives. Women once depended on powerful men for survival, so their subconscious still associates dominance with safety. But the truth goes deeper than biology. It is not just about protection. It is about thrill. It is about being overwhelmed by energy greater than her own, energy that forces her to let go of her carefully constructed defenses. For many women, this is the very definition of erotic bliss, to be taken beyond her own control. And here lies the paradox. Outwardly, many modern women insist on independence, equality, even superiority. They build careers, achieve status, and command authority in public life. But in private, behind closed doors, their most burning fantasy is the exact opposite. The stronger they become in society, the more they crave a man who can overpower them in intimacy. The woman who bosses others all day longs to be thrown back into her femininity by a man whose dominance cannot be ignored. The tragedy is that most men today have been trained to suppress this natural dominance. They have been told to be nice, to never offend, to always ask for permission, to treat women like fragile glass. But fragility does not spark desire. Niceness does not awaken fantasy. A man who bends to every demand, who apologizes for his masculinity, becomes invisible in her eyes. He may win her approval, but he will never win her raw desire. She will sleep next to him, but dream of someone else. To embody the fantasy of dominance, a man must reclaim his authority, not through anger or abuse, but through unshakable confidence. Speak with certainty, move with purpose. Never let her emotional storms knock you off balance. When she tests you, smile and stand firm. When she provokes you, do not fold. Hold your ground. This is what awakens the part of her that longs to submit. She does not want a tyrant. She wants a king. The man who dominates himself, his emotions, his decisions, his life, is the one who effortlessly dominates her world as well. Number 2, the stranger fantasy. The second fantasy that grips the female mind is the vision of the mysterious stranger. It is the daydream of being swept into an encounter with a man who is not part of her ordinary world, a man who seems to arrive from nowhere, carrying with him danger, novelty, and the scent of the unknown. This fantasy is not about love stories or romance novels. It is about escape. Women live in routines, in predictable schedules, in the suffocating repetition of safety. The stranger represents liberation. He is not tied to her daily life, her obligations, or her judgments. He is the portal to a secret world she longs to taste. Why does this fantasy burn so deeply? Because novelty is the fuel of desire. Nothing awakens female lust faster than a man she cannot completely figure out. Familiarity breeds comfort, but it also kills passion. That is why many women lose interest in their partners after a few years. The mystery is gone, the story is over, and she knows every move before he makes it. But a stranger, he is unpredictable. He forces her imagination to race. Who is he? What does he want? What is he capable of? In those questions, desire comes alive. This is why women are so drawn to bad boys, travelers, or men who seem to live outside the rules. It is not the leather jacket or the motorcycle that truly excites her. It is the aura of unfamiliarity. The man who seems untamed, who appears in her life with stories she has never heard, who acts with motives she cannot quite read. This man awakens her fantasy of the stranger, and when she steps into that fantasy, she feels like she is stepping out of herself, shedding her old skin for something dangerous and thrilling. Notice how this fantasy works in her psychology. The more predictable you are, the less power you have. The more she can read you, the less she craves you. Men who lay out their whole life story in the first few conversations, who constantly seek validation by sharing everything, kill mystery before it even begins. They make themselves ordinary, and an ordinary man cannot ignite extraordinary fantasies. On the other hand, the man who keeps something back, who does not reveal every thought, who moves with a sense of purpose she cannot quite define, that man commands her imagination. He becomes the stranger even if she knows his name, even if she sees him often. Mystery is not about distance, it is about control of information. By carefully choosing what to reveal and what to conceal, you allow her mind to fill the gaps. And the gaps are where her fantasies grow wild. Understand this. Women do not crave full access to your soul. They crave the chase, the puzzle, the tension of trying to decode you. If you are too easy to read, she loses interest. If you are just unpredictable enough, she invests herself, projecting her fantasies onto the space you leave. In other words, you don't have to be a literal stranger. You have to play the role of the stranger in her life. To embody this fantasy, a man must stop trying to be understood at all times. Stop explaining yourself. Stop confessing every detail. Let silence work in your favor. When she asks, answer simply, but not fully. When she pushes, smile, as if you know something she doesn't. Live a life that actually contains mystery. Pursue passions, adventures, and goals that are not all centered on her. Become a man who is present yet elusive, near yet unreachable. The mysterious stranger is powerful because he is unforgettable. Once a woman has tasted even a glimpse of that energy, she cannot stop wondering, and as long as she wonders, she desires. Number 3. The forbidden fantasy. The third female fantasy is the most dangerous and the most thrilling. The fantasy of the forbidden. Women are drawn to what society tells them they cannot have. The more a desire is labeled wrong, shameful, or taboo, the stronger it burns in her imagination. Why? Because prohibition itself creates intensity. A secret, by definition, is charged with energy. And for a woman, the act of stepping into something forbidden is like stepping into fire, terrifying, but impossible to resist. Think about this. What excites her more? The man she is supposed to be with, or the man she knows she shouldn't touch? Which story makes her pulse race? The safe marriage, or the dangerous affair? Women may speak of loyalty, tradition, and morality, but deep inside, their desire is stirred by the forbidden, the fantasy of breaking the rules, of crossing the line, of hiding what no one else can know. This is the oxygen that fuels her lust. Psychologists call this reactance. When someone is told they cannot do something, their desire to do it increases. For women, this principle is magnified by sexuality. A relationship condemned by society, an affair with a superior, a tryst in a place where discovery would mean disaster. These scenarios trigger the taboo fantasy. It is not the act itself that matters most. It is the risk. The risk of being caught. The risk of exposure. The risk of losing everything. Risk is the drug that makes desire addictive. Notice how this operates in real life. Many women fantasize about infidelity not because they truly want to betray their partner, but because the very thought of crossing the boundary excites them. Even in long-term relationships, they create small taboos in their minds to keep desire alive. A forbidden message, a secret thought, a flirtation that no one must know. The stronger the boundary, the sweeter the violation. And here is the paradox. The more a man tries to moralize and control her fantasies, the less control he actually has. Tell her what she should desire, and she will secretly dream of the opposite. Shame her for having dark thoughts, and you only make those thoughts more powerful. The forbidden cannot be killed. It can only be ignored or embraced. So how does a man embody this fantasy? By understanding it without judgment. By becoming the man who carries danger, temptation, and the possibility of crossing lines, without begging, without apologizing. This does not mean becoming reckless or immoral. It means holding an energy that whispers, I am not like the others. I don't play by all the rules. With me, you might lose control. That suggestion alone is enough to plant the seed of the taboo fantasy in her mind. The truth is simple. Women crave the excitement of danger as much as they crave love. The men who bore them with predictability will never touch their deepest desire. But the man who knows how to dance on the edge of taboo, who knows how to awaken that thrill without being careless, is the man who controls her fantasies, and through them, her desire. Number 4, the admiration fantasy. The fourth female fantasy is the dream of the powerful man, the figure who stands above others, admired, respected, and untouchable. This is not simply about money or fame, though those can be symbols of power. At its core, this fantasy is about a man whose presence commands attention, whose value cannot be denied, and whose authority radiates effortlessly. Women crave not just intimacy with him, but the feeling of being chosen by him. To be desired by the powerful man is to feel elevated, to feel that she too has been lifted above the ordinary. Power is magnetic. It draws women because it represents two things at once: security and excitement. A man with power can protect, provide, and open doors. But more importantly, he is rare. He is the man others look up to, the man who stands out in any room. Being with him gives her the intoxicating sense of superiority. While other women dream, she is the one he touched. That alone feeds her ego, her status, and her secret fantasies. This is why women are drawn to leaders, artists, entrepreneurs, even rebels, men who live on a higher plane than the masses. They are not just men. They are symbols. Symbols of strength, vision, and independence. Desire is not purely physical. It is aspirational. She wants him not only because of who he is, but because of what he represents. And through him, she feels herself become part of that greatness. Notice the psychology here. Women rarely fantasize about men they see as beneath them. Respect is the soil in which their desire grows. Without admiration, attraction withers. A man can be handsome, even charming, but if she does not admire him, her body will not respond the same way. The fantasy of the powerful man awakens her because it connects sex with reverence. She wants to be close to the man who makes her say, "He is above me." And here lies the tragedy for ordinary men. They think desire is built on chasing, begging, or pleasing. They shower women with attention, but they do not build themselves into men worth admiring. They forget that attraction is not democratic. It is hierarchical. She desires upward. She looks to the man who rises above, not the one who crawls beneath. So how does a man embody this fantasy? By becoming powerful in his own life, not by empty bragging or fake status, but by mastering himself and his world. Cultivate ambition. Build skills. Command respect in your field. Develop the presence that makes people pause when you enter a room. When a woman sees others respect you, her own respect follows. And respect is the gateway to desire. The powerful man does not chase. He chooses. He does not explain why he is valuable. His life demonstrates it. He does not lower himself to gain approval. He raises the standards others must meet. This is why women dream of him, because he embodies something larger than himself. And when he finally looks at her and says without words, "You are mine," she feels not just desired, but exalted. The truth is simple. Women do not lust after mediocrity. They lust after greatness. And the man who dares to cultivate power, real power, not showmanship, is the man who lives permanently inside their fantasies. Number 5. The transformation fantasy. The fifth female fantasy is perhaps the most personal. The fantasy of transformation, the hidden side of herself unleashed. In her daily life, a woman is bound by masks. She is the responsible daughter, the serious professional, the loyal partner, the respectable friend. Every role demands restraint. Every mask demands self-control. But inside, there exists another version of her. Wild, uninhibited, reckless. A woman who does not apologize for desire, but devours it. This hidden side rarely appears in daylight, but in her fantasies, it comes alive with full force. This is why so many women crave scenarios where they can lose themselves. The act is less about the man and more about who she becomes in his presence. With the right man, she does not have to be good. She does not have to worry about reputation, consequences, or the image she shows the world. She can become the creature she secretly dreams of being, the one society told her to bury. For her, this transformation is liberation. It is the breaking of chains. You can see hints of this everywhere. The shy girl, who secretly imagines being loud, aggressive, and insatiable. The successful executive, who longs to be stripped of all control and turned into a wild animal. The faithful wife, who fantasizes about being a stranger in her own skin, acting out scenes she would never admit even to herself. These are not contradictions. They are the balance her mind craves. The more controlled she is in public, the more she desires release in private. This fantasy explains why women are drawn to men who create intensity, who pull them into states where they can forget themselves. Alcohol, music, dance, danger. All of these serve as triggers for her transformation. But the most powerful trigger is the man who embodies freedom, who gives her permission without words to unleash her forbidden self. She does not just want him, she wants who she becomes with him. And here lies the truth. Women do not fantasize only about men. They fantasize about themselves in new forms. A man who understands this becomes irresistible, because he is not offering only himself. He is offering her an escape from herself. He becomes the mirror in which she sees the hidden creature inside her, reflected back. And when that creature is awakened, desire floods her body like a storm. Most men fail because they try to hold her to the image she shows the world. They treat her like the good girl, the respectable figure, the woman who must always be proper. But that version of her is not what fuels her fantasies. The hidden side, the wild side, is what burns in her. If you cannot awaken that side, you will never touch the deepest level of her desire. To embody this fantasy, a man must stop demanding consistency and start provoking contrast. Encourage her to reveal the side she hides. Push her past her comfort zone. Show her, with your energy and confidence, that with you, she does not need to be controlled. With you, she can transform. This is the essence of her fantasy. Not to remain who she is, but to become what she secretly longs to be. The truth is brutal. Women crave not only to be desired, but to be remade. And the man who dares to awaken the hidden side of a woman becomes unforgettable, because he gives her something no one else can: freedom from herself. Female desire is not random, and it is never as innocent as it appears. Behind every smile, every polite conversation, every display of decency, there are fantasies, dark, hidden, and powerful, that dictate the way women feel, choose, and surrender. To the blind man, these fantasies remain locked away, and he wonders why she grows cold, why passion fades. But to the man who understands, they are the keys to her deepest submission. The stranger, the forbidden, the powerful, the conqueror, the transformation. These are not stories. They are scripts running in her mind every single day. The question is not whether they exist. The question is, will you be the man who awakens them? Or will you be forgotten like the countless others who never dared to step into her hidden world? The choice is yours. Master yourself. Embody the archetypes, and she will fall into the gravity of her own fantasies, with you at the center.